The fire truck roared to a stop at the gate of Willow Creek, its red lights slicing through the dusk, sirens wailing like a call to war. Smoke twisted into the sky, a dark omen above the tidy lawns and cookie-cutter homes. But instead of a swift rescue, the firefighters faced a barricade, a woman in a lavender tracksuit, arms folded, her glare fiercer than the flames. This was Linda Harper, president of the Willow Creek HOA, and she had one rule for the firefighters: no entry without her approval. Unbeknownst to Linda, the fire wasn't raging in a neighbor's garage. It was in her own basement. I was already on scene, a paramedic checking my gear in the ambulance, when the 911 call crackled through. Smoke reported, possible electrical fire, Willow Creek. The neighborhood was a maze of cul-de-sacs and identical facades, making it hard to pinpoint the source. I lived just outside the HOA but knew its reputation. Linda's reign of petty fines and ironclad rules was legendary. She'd once fined a kid for flying a kite that clashed with the community's neutral palette. As the fire truck pulled up, smoke thickened over a rooftop. Linda, in her white SUV, had parked across the access road, clipboard in hand, ready for battle. "This is private property," she snapped at Fire Captain Tom Reynolds. "We have regulations." Tom, a seasoned responder, flashed his badge, but Linda was unmoved. "No approval, no entry. Your sirens are a disturbance." I stepped out of my rig, catching the worried glance of Jake, a rookie firefighter. Smoke seemed to drift from a few blocks away, so Tom rerouted the truck through a service road, losing 3 precious minutes time that could mean the difference between a saved home and a pile of ash. Then came Linda's next move. She parked her SUV in front of the only working hydrant, claiming, "I don't trust outsiders using our water." Jake, hose in hand, vaulted over her hood, knocking over a plastic squirrel. Linda shrieked, "That's a collector's item." I switched on my body cam, sensing this would end in reports or restraints. Linda turned on me, jabbing a finger. "You're enabling anarchy." I replied, "Linda, there's smoke pouring from a roof. Anarchy's already here." I launched my drone, a hobby tool I'd repurposed for fire spotting. As it buzzed over the rooftops, I saw the truth. Smoke billowed from Linda's own vents, her basement window flickering orange. I radioed Tom. "The fire's in Linda's house." A stunned pause, then, "Copy that." When Tom broke the news, Linda scoffed, "Impossible. My home is immaculate. I just redid the kitchen." Even as firefighters stormed her porch, she blocked the door, yelling about lawsuits. The heat hit us like a wall when we entered electric, suffocating. We pushed through her cluttered living room, dodging ceramic bunnies and framed HOA awards. Smoke poured from the basement door, flames licking the stairs. Jake charged down while Linda trailed, ranting about her carpets. She grabbed my arm, insisting, "It's just my wellness heater. I bought it from a specialist in Ohio." I stared. "You wired a heater with car batteries?" She didn't answer, slipping on a rug shaped like a poodle and crashing to the floor. Jake radioed from below, an electrical fire, fueled by lithium batteries and a pile of sawdust. I snapped photos, knowing this wasn't just negligence, it was a hazard that could have torched the block. As the crew doused the flames, Linda was already on her phone, likely calling her lawyer. Her pristine lawn became a mess of hoses and foam. Her garden gnome toppled like a fallen soldier. She stood silent, a rare moment savored by all. But the storm wasn't over. Inside, Tom and I assessed the damage. The heater was a modified farm unit, illegally installed with shoddy wiring. An inspector, Carl, shook his head. "This is YouTube tutorial engineering gone wrong." Linda overheard and snapped. It was a custom job by a certified consultant. His website had testimonials. I asked, "What's the company?" She hesitated. "Warm Vibes, maybe Warm Waves." I paid with gift cards. Tom stifled a laugh. Outside, neighbors gathered, drawn by the spectacle. Word spread. The HOA queen had nearly burned her house down and blocked the heroes trying to save it. Someone started a live stream. Linda, smudged with ash, stepped onto her porch to salvage her image. "I thank our firefighters," she declared, though their methods were aggressive. A neighbor shouted, "You were the problem." The crowd laughed. Then Carl found something odd. The basement's HVAC ducts were rerouted with duct tape, leading to a hidden panel stuffed with wires and extension cords. Linda called it eco-support. Carl called it a code violation. In her utility closet, we found scorched outlets and unmarked containers. Carl whispered, "This could be criminal." Linda paled. "My handyman did that. His name was Greg, maybe Gary. Very professional." Things escalated when she lunged at Tom's camera, kicking it across the floor. Jake gasped. "Did she just assault him?" Tom stayed calm. "Secure the scene. She's interfering." Linda bolted upstairs, locking us in the basement. We were trapped with smoldering wires and her precious batteries. After 5 tense minutes, Jake pried open a side door. Linda's voice echoed from above. "I'm calling the governor." I shouted back. "Tell him to bring a fire extinguisher." The sheriff arrived, not for the fire but for Linda's obstruction. She reappeared, all smiles, offering tea like she hadn't just committed felonies. Tom wasn't buying it. "You locked us in a burning basement." "That's not a misunderstanding." A neighbor, Ellen, pulled me aside. This isn't her first stunt. 2 years ago, she wired the pool with old barn heaters, knocked out power to half the street. Ellen revealed Linda controlled the HOA budget unchecked. Her office has the proof. With the sheriff's approval, we entered Linda's office, a fortress of file cabinets and a whiteboard listing troublesome residents. My name was second. In a cabinet labeled vendor records, we found checks to non-existent companies and PayPal receipts for Cozy Nest Solutions. Ellen gasped. She's been skimming funds. Linda, flanked by 2 loyalists, stormed in, waving a folder. "This is confidential." The deputy replied, "Your fire's a crime scene now." When she tried to snatch a file, then threw a jar through a window to flee, Jake caught her in the bushes, folder in hand, screaming about tyranny. Linda was detained, her empire crumbling. We uncovered checks signed to L. Hart, Linda H., and LH Services, all her. Emails showed her threatening neighbors over trivialities like mailbox colors. The crowd outside clapped as she was led to a cruiser. Ellen handed over the HOA charter, citing a clause to oust Linda immediately. By evening, the board met, voting unanimously to remove her. Ellen became interim president, declaring no more fake fines. The fire's cause? A fake consultant, Linda herself siphoning HOA funds. Her home was a wreck, its wiring fried, her trophies untouched in a cruel irony. Neighbors barbecued, kids played, and someone planted Linda's broken squirrel in her yard as a trophy. Her husband arrived, sighing. "I told her those batteries were trouble." The next day, headlines blared. HOA president arrested for blocking firefighters. Linda trended online, her tracksuit memed into infamy. At a packed HOA meeting, residents laughed over Linda's absurd burlesque. "No cheerful gnomes, no loud wind chimes." Ellen's new mandate banned bogus fines, refunding past ones. A new sign went up. "Welcome to Willow Creek. We love firefighters, freedom, and squirrels." The scorched squirrel stood proud beside it. The community was reborn, not just from ash, but from years of fear. Linda was gone, her schemes exposed, her power erased. What do you think? Was Linda a victim of her own delusion, or a calculated tyrant? Should her punishment go beyond fines and jail, maybe community service to rebuild trust? Share your thoughts below, especially on power abuse and justice in our neighborhoods. Let's debate. How do we stop the next Linda?